So I'm trying to get back to work on this 55 Chevy pickup. Now these fenders and doors and all these other pieces we know are aftermarket panels, and they don't fit quite as well as the originals did, and so we have some issues, just a few little things. I've already adjusted this step down here. It was sticking out past the door. I cut it and trimmed it back, but what I've run into is up here on the hood. It's hard to see from this angle, but the fender sits higher than the hood, and that's going to be a big issue when it comes time to put it back together. And it's really about a 1/4 inch difference. And of course back here where it meets the cowl, it has it's hard to see, but again it sits up higher than the cowl does. So what I'm going to do is do some custom work on these fenders. I took the driver's side off, as you can see, and I've got it laying up here on the stand, kind of sideways. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut the fender somewhere in this area right here, and I'm going to take the top and make it go down to eliminate that high point. And so I've got some numbers here written: 1/4, 1/8. Here's where it fit good on the hood. Here's another one: 1/4 plus, 1/4 plus. What those are is, I basically took a measurement about a 1/4 inch, and back here's 3/16. So I know I got to drop it about that far to make it fit. So what I've done is I've taken another piece of tape and laid it up here, and I've put some 1-inch marks, because once you cut this you'll never really know where you're at. So with these 1-inch marks, I can cut, anywhere in between those two, or in between, on a line, make 2 cuts, cut out a strip of metal, pinch this together and weld it, and I can go exactly 1/4 inch, and I know that I've gone that distance. So just a little technique, and hopefully I can make this fender fit the way it's supposed to. We want this truck to be really slick and nice, but we'll see what happens. Stay tuned. Okay, so I made the first cut. It's this top one here. You can see now that this can move quite a bit. I've measured off. I'm going to make my second cut and take out that strip of metal, and then bring this top down, and hopefully it'll all do as I want, and bring that down, and then tack weld it back together and put it back on the truck and see what it looks like. Alright, so there it is. Got it tacked in place. You can see I took out that much metal, and now we're going to put it up on the truck and see how it fits. Okay, the fender's now bolted back up to the truck, as you can see, and as I showed you earlier, it had this big drop back here on this. It's hard to see, but I mean it drops quite a bit. And of course I've cut this other side and tacked it back together. Now look, that's right where it should be. The only issue I have now, these things didn't have perfect gaps when they were new, not like today's cars where they're super tight tolerance. So we're going to have to try to do something to tighten this gap up just a little bit right here. The other issue I have right now, this fit horrible before, and now that's right on plane with the cowl, as you can see, much better. But now I've got this fitment issue here with the door. The door is even with the cowl right now, and if I roll it in any further, it's probably going to create issues up here. So I may have to cut the fender, and I'm still working on how to do that one. I may end up slicing it here in the middle and bringing this piece up a little bit and this piece out a little bit, and then welding in a filler. And so that's the next step, to make sure that turns out right. Alright, so there's my my cut, and then what I had to do is come in. I actually had to cut into this structure a little bit in behind here, and then knock this up and out, and now I'm going to fill that gap and do a little bit of dolly work to smooth things up, but that'll take care of that big drop that I had at the door. Here's a little more on the fender for the 55 Chevy. I got a little ahead of myself. I know I'd shown you the previous spot about how I cut this open and bent these up and then welded that back in. I also got a spot puller and pulled that dent out that was right here. But part of the problem we had too was, the transition from the door to the fender. It just wasn't really a good line. And we also had a problem with the body line. Now on the door, it came across pretty nice, but on the fender, as it ran back, it actually dropped. It kind of faded away. So I had to create it. There's really no way around it. You can't really go into cutting the metal there and trying to bend the fender around. It just won't work. So I used some filler. I used some short strand fiberglass to give it some strength, and then of course the Rage product we put on top of that. And as you can see, the line is now right where it should be. So from this point, I'm just going to continue on. We've got a nice gap going, and we'll be able to see it better once we get some primer on it. As you can see here, there's some high metal. That's an indication you need to stop sanding. Same way here. You can see that. If you try to keep sanding once you get to those shiny spots, you're just doing yourself an injustice, because you'll keep adding filler and sanding it off and adding filler and sanding it off. Now that I look, I can see there's a little bit of a shiny spot. Kind of hard to see it without the good light, but which indicates a little bit of a low spot right here in the filler. So I'm gonna have to go over that a little more, but there's a lot more to do. But just wanted to show you the progress on the fender, and I'm also working the back area of the door, trying to make the transition right for it. So that's where it's at. Just driving on.